Kees Vonk is going to be preaching for us today. Shall I quickly pray? Great. God, thank you so much for Kees. Thank you that he is a giant, literally, and spiritually as well, for your kingdom. And we just thank you for what he's about to bring. Let it pierce our hearts and help us repent towards you, turn towards you, in even quicker feet and outstretched arms to grab hold of you, Father, and Lord, Savior, and Holy Spirit, that you may do your stuff in us and around us and through us. Amen.
Good morning. Let me just get ready. Can I make a bit of space here, otherwise it's not nice. Okay. We're going through a small series at the moment about stewardship. And Andy talked last week about using your time wisely. And today we're going to talk about using your talents wisely. I came across a good definition of a good sermon yesterday. Apparently a good sermon has a good start and a good end, and they're as close together as possible. I'm not sure I'm going to manage the last bit, but it's, I'll do my best. I mean, when we talk about talent, the first thing that came to my mind is the parable that Jesus tells about the talent, and I'll read it in a moment. But, I looked at lots of things concerning talent, and I find that originally talent meant, was a measure of weight. Yeah? In the parables, the people get given a certain amount of gold by weight. And some commentators say that what they get given could amount in today's money to several million pounds. The huge amounts of money they get given by this by their boss, by the guy who employs them. And then, the word was Greek, came into Latin. Somewhere around the year 900,000, it changed meaning from being a weight to what we look at as a talent now, something that you can do, something. TV is full of talent shows. It's Britain's Got Talent is one my son likes to watch. I watch it and look at it often, and I think we should call it Britain Hasn't Got Talent. But then again, there's always a few good ones in there, and that's good. But the word talent is a bit of a loaded word, and if you read this parable, then it's not really talking about talents as we know them. It's talking about a weight in goldness, and the NIV translates it as a bag of gold rather than using the word talent, because the word talent has changed meaning. I'll read the parable to you. This is from the ESV. That does still use the word talent, but I'll read it to you anyway. In Matthew 25 it is. Sorry, I should have told you. Matthew 25, starting at verse 13. Yeah? Verse 13 says, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money." Apparently it was a very common practice for protecting your money against theft, that you would bury it somewhere. And as long as you remembered where it was, then you wouldn't lose it. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents, saying, "Master, you have delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more." His master said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter the joy of your master." He also, who had the 2 talents, came forward, saying, "Master, you have delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more." His master said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also had received the 1 talent, came forward saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not scatter. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scatter no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers. And at my coming I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given. And he who has an abundance, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now I was looking at this parable, and I think, what I'm going to do is this. There's a number of things in there that are a bit hard to interpret, hard to understand. What is Jesus exactly saying here? And I think in order to understand what Jesus is all about, we need to go back to basics, back to the beginning. It's like cutting wood. If you need to cut 100 things of 2 meters long, then you cut one of 2 meters long, and you put it along the next one, and use that to saw the next bit. And then you can do it wrong. You can take the initial one you put away, you get the next one, and you keep cutting. By the end you've done 100, you end up with a piece that's 2.5 meters long, because it gets a little bit more extra. Whereas you would use the same piece from the beginning all the time, all your pieces would be the same length. I think the problem with this parable is that it's been interpreted so many different times, and people have heard it in so many different ways, that I think we need to go back to some very basic things. And in order to do that, I want to go back to Genesis. You can't go back much further than that. So, Genesis 1. Yeah? You can't go back further than Genesis 1. You go to the front cover after Genesis 1 if you go back. Genesis 1, verses 26 to 28. Let me read out what it says. It says, Then God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created in his own image, in the image of... So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, Be fruitful and multiply. And fill the earth and subdue it. And have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Now maybe you're listening to that and you think, what does that have to do with the parable of the talents? Well, that's what I'm here to explain to you. I want to look at one specific phrase here. God says to Adam and Eve, he says, Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. It sounds a bit like he's saying 4 times the same thing. But if you look in depth at what he's saying, it's not actually 4 times the same thing. When God says, be fruitful, be fruitful means be productive. Use the gifts that you have and do something with them. They were in the garden. Adam and Eve essentially were gardeners. Be fruitful to them would mean, tend to the trees, look after the garden, be fruitful. That is what you have. Multiply. I think that means exactly what you think it means. Have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And that's fill the earth. Now, what does it mean? Does it mean that we fill the earth as people? And I thought, okay, let's look up what else the Bible has to say about filling the earth. There's a number of references in the Bible about filling the earth. And there's a few interesting ones. The first one we come across is in Genesis 6. In Genesis 6 verse 13, it's the story of Noah. And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them on the earth. Yeah? The earth was filled, but the earth was filled with violence. That was not what God intended to do. It was wrong. In Numbers 14 and in Jeremiah 23, it talks about how God says to Israel, or to Jeremiah in that case, it is I who have filled the earth. The earth is filled with the Lord. And the earth is full of God. And in Isaiah, it talks about how the knowledge of God fills the earth. But the most helpful passage I came across is in Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2 verse 14. Which says something similar. It says, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Now in Hebrew, knowledge is not a head thing. Knowledge is an experiential thing. Yeah? If the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of God, it means that people know the glory of God because they have experienced it. Everywhere in the Bible, when it talks about knowing something, it is an experiential thing, something you know because you have experienced it. A little further on in Genesis, it says that Adam knew Eve, and she became pregnant. Or she bore him a son, I think it says. It's not a head thing. It's an experiential thing. It's not a sexual thing either, because it's used for many other things. To know something in the Bible means to experience it. Yeah? So when it says that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, it means that the earth will have experienced the glory of the Lord. Now the glory of the Lord, the best definition I found of glory is it's the manifest, radiant presence of God. Yeah? The manifest and radiant presence of God. That's what the world will experience. That's what Habakkuk promises when he says the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. And I think that when God in Genesis 1 talks to Adam and Eve and says, fill the earth, he wants them to fill the earth with his glory. Because at that point they live in Eden. And Eden is a garden, which might have been a quite big garden, but it's big enough for two people to look after. And the idea is that they will multiply and they will start expanding the garden. Expanding the garden until it fills the whole earth. That's what it means when God says subdue the earth. To subdue the earth, that meant to take that what God had planted and to spread it out over the whole earth, to expand it. Yeah, heaven is where the glory of God dwells with people. And by filling, that was filled with the glory, by expanding the garden, by subduing the earth outside of the garden and making it the same, the earth will be filled with the glory of God. And then it went wrong. We all know it went wrong. We read in Genesis 3 how Adam and Eve sinned. And they decided they could do it without God, and they would try it for themselves. And we saw all around us the mess we're in the times, and we know what the results of that are. And too often people think that when that happened, that God gave up on his original plan. I just want to state to you today, God did never give up on his original plan. It is still his plan to fill the earth with the knowledge of his glory. Our core calling today is still those things, yes? Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. One day there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and God will make this earth new. And we will see the glory of God, we'll experience the glory of God over all this earth. But even today, this is still valid, and God still wants us to take his glory out wherever we go. And I think that is something we need to keep in mind when we look at this parable. When we look about at this parable of the talents and see what it's all about. Now, the other thing that I find that a lot of people struggle with is, I was looking on the internet at interpretations of this parable, and there's so many people who seem to interpret the third servant who bared his talent as somebody who didn't do what he should do for God and lost his salvation. Well, I know, and I know that the other elders here say the same thing. Losing your salvation is not an option. Yeah? We were saying earlier that Rene was here talking about how the work that Christ did for us is finished. Yeah? Jane was here telling us that there is no condemnation. There is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. The latter half of this parable is not about somebody who didn't do what God asked him to do and got sent to hell for that. Because if that was the case, we would be in a situation where our salvation eventually would depend on us. And it doesn't depend on us, it depends on God. And He is good. I think what this salvation, what this parable is about, the Bible sometimes talks about building up treasure in heaven. And I think instead of thinking of the idea of salvation or not, think of the idea of building up treasure in heaven. And this starts making a lot more sense. But let's go back to this parable. I just needed to give you that background. First of all, let's have a look at the context of this parable. The previous chapter, Matthew 24, Jesus foretells the destruction of the temple, which happens in AD 70 in Jerusalem. And then he goes on with a number of things. He's starting to talk about stewardship, about how his return will be unexpected. He tells a story about wise and foolish virgins. Some are prepared, some are not prepared. Then we get this parable of the talents. And then there's a parable about separating goats and sheep, and how when Jesus returns he will separate those who trust in him from those who don't. All these parables talk about stewarding what God has given us. And I think that's the core message of this parable. Stewarding the things that God has given us. It is about living for the kingdom. It's not about trying to secure our salvation. Your salvation is secure. Last few times I preached, I had a PowerPoint up here, which I won't put up now, which talks about how we are accepted, we are free, we are secure, we are significant. All these things still stands. Whatever you do, wherever you go, those things stand. God has accepted you. He has set you free. He's made you secure, and to Him you are significant. This parable is about living for the kingdom, to build up treasure in heaven. There is a warning in there for those who are self-righteous, those people who believe they can do it all themselves, who don't need to be part of the kingdom. If you look at Matthew 26, you see straight away that it starts talking about how the leaders of the Jews start planning to kill Jesus. Because they do not like what he's saying, because they know very well that the second half of this parable and some of the other ones, Jesus is applying to them. Because they don't think they need Jesus. But let's have a look at the parable. First of all, when we look at this, where are we? Sorry, I'm lost. Okay, verse 14 and 15. Verse 14 and 15. For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability. The first thing I want to state here, that obviously not all people are equal. Equality is really big in our culture nowadays. The Bible very clearly says not all people are equal. All people are equally worth, have an equal worth, are equally loved. Yeah? Everybody is in Christ as much as anybody else is. But not everybody's ability is the same. I mean, we see here that some people get given a lot and other people get given a little, according to their ability. Which means that whatever God has given to you, you can cope with, you can deal with, because it is according to your ability. He has not given you too much. He's not giving you too little. He's giving you exactly what you can cope with. He knows you. He's created you. He loves you. And He's not going to overburden you, nor undervalue you. Not everybody is equal according to ability. Not everybody is equal not everybody is equal in gifting either. Yeah? Different people have different gifts. Lots of things in the Bible refer to that. In Ephesians 4 verse 7 it says, grace was given to each one of us according to the measure of Christ's gifts. In other words, everybody has gifts. Yeah? If you sit here and you think, I haven't got any gifts, yeah? Come forward and we'll pray for you. And we'll see if we can find what God has given you. Because God has given to all of you. He has given gifts to everyone. I mean, look at the parable and we're looking at the end somebody gets thrown out of the outer darkness. Yeah? If you'd been a Christian, you would not have been thrown out. So God obviously gives gifts to non-Christians as well. It's not just something that because we are Christians, therefore we have gifts. God gives gifts to humanity in general. Different gifts to different people. In 1 Corinthians 12, verse 4 and onwards, it says, now there are a variety of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are a variety of service, but the same Lord. There are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who empowers them all in everyone. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For to one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge according to the same Spirit. To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, gifts of healing by one Spirit. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, the ability to distinguish between spirits. To another, various kinds of tongues. To another, interpretation of tongues. All these are empowered by one and the same Spirit, who apportions to each individual as He wills. We all have gifts. Now this section talks specifically about spiritual gifts. So look at all the ones in a second as well. But we all have gifts. God has given all of us different spiritual gifts. Yeah? They might not be on that list. You might have got spiritual gifts that are not on this list. But the idea is this, that God has given all of us to the extent of our ability. And He only expects us to work with those gifts to the extent of our ability. I mean, He doesn't only give spiritual gifts. In Exodus 35, Moses is working on the ark. And he says this, see, the Lord has called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And then he says, and He has filled him with the Spirit of God, with skill, with intelligence, with knowledge, and with all craftsmanship. Yeah? These are very hands-on gifts given by God. God gives many gifts. In Daniel, when Daniel and his friends are brought into the court of Nebuchadnezzar, it says, these 4 youths, God gave them learning and skill in all literature and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding of visions and dreams. Some of these are spiritual gifts, some of them aren't. We've got many, many different gifts. And I think it's important to learn to recognize what your gifts are and how to deal with it. I was thinking of what can I use as an illustration with that. And the first thing that came to my mind was The Incredibles, Disney film, The Incredibles. Yeah? Most of you have probably seen it. It's about this family which all have got superpowers. And they use them in different things. I was thinking of these 3 kids, because the 3 kids deal with their gifts in very different ways. First, there's Violet. She's a little bit awkward teenager. She kind of hides and tries to not show people any gifts that she has. Then there's Dash. His gift, he's fast. He's really, really fast. And he uses his gifts, for his own benefit. Which is not. And then there's the baby, little Jack, and nobody knows yet what his gifts are. You don't really find out to the end of the film, and them not even either. But it's people deal with gifts in different ways. They might be hiding away and not kind of afraid of what they can do. Or they might be trying to use the gifts that God has given them for their own benefit. Or maybe they don't know what their gifts are. And then it is up to them to come and find out and look at what God has to say about the gifts that He's given them. But the one thing I want to bring out of this, everybody's different. Everybody's got different abilities, different gifts, different things. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't think, oh, he can do this, he's so much better than I am. Or, I can do this, I'm so much better than he is. Neither of them is helpful. Everybody's different. Everybody's gifts are given to them specifically because they have the ability to make something excellent with the gifts that they have. The other thing that I was thinking is, okay, if gifts are given according to ability, then talents or abilities can't be the gift. This is why the word talent is confusing. You can't say my ability has been given to me according to my ability. That somehow doesn't work. So it must be talking about something else. And in verse 14 it says that a man went on a journey, calling his servant and trusting to him his property. His property. The property of God. What is the property of God? The property of God is His kingdom. The property of God is you and me. Creation. I think everything we have, everything we do in that sense is a gift of God. It can be relationships. It can be the church. It can be spiritual gifts. It can be skills that you've got. Maybe your IQ, your finances, your location, how much time you've got to spare. All these different things and many others are gifts that God has given. And I think that when it talks about this man entrusting his property to his servants, he's talking about the kingdom that he has given us. God has given us the kingdom. And my first thought was, okay, why has God entrusted to us His kingdom? And then the answer came to me. He's entrusted us His kingdom in order for us to learn to rule. Now, it might sound a bit odd, but the Bible very clearly states that once we will go to the new heaven and the new earth, that we will rule with Christ. Unless there is continuation from God's original plan right through to now and into the future. At the same time, there's a continuation of who you are, of all that you've been given, and all that you can do into eternity. Things have eternity value. I mean, look at verse 20. Verse 20, it says, he who had received the 10 talents came forward, bringing 5 more, and saying, Master, you have delivered to me 5 talents. Here, I have 5 talents more. So he's got 10 talents. What does he do with the talents? Yeah? What is he doing with those 10 talents? Okay, look at verse 28. So take the talents from him, that's the one who had 1, and give it to him who has 10 talents. In other words, the servant didn't have to do anything with it. The talents were his to keep. Yeah? Things that we do in life here, on this short period on earth, have eternity value. Things we learn here are still relevant when we come to a new earth. Sometimes people think of heaven and a new earth as an everlasting church service. Well, thank God it's not like that. I mean, I don't mind church services, but I can't think of anything worse than an everlasting church service.
Amen.
Yeah? Can you imagine Andy standing here preaching forever? Or me, even worse. Yeah? Heaven is going to be a place of activity, of lots of different activity. And heaven in some ways is going to be a place of work. Yeah? And not necessarily the kind of tiring, wearing out work. It's going to be the most fulfilling, exciting, enjoyable work that you will have ever done. And part of what you're learning now, you will be taking with you into heaven. Because there are skills that you will learn here that you will be able to apply in heaven. If you enjoy teaching here on earth, it wouldn't surprise me if you would be able to teach in heaven. Yeah? I don't believe we will know everything once we get to heaven. Because that would make us omniscient. And I only know one person who's omniscient. And that's not me. Not even my wife. Yeah? She's wonderful and she knows a lot. But God's omniscient. And when we get to heaven, we won't be God. We will still be us. We still will be learning. If you really enjoy working with your hands, yeah, it's very possible that God will have you do things and ask you to do things with your hands. Yeah? If you like building furniture, take something. Yeah? Jesus was a carpenter. Maybe building furniture was him. The skills and things we learn here on earth have eternity value. The things we can take with us. So a lot of this is building up treasure in heaven. Storing up treasure in heaven. It's part of that. Of course, we know that money we make here we can't take with us. And there's certain things we can't take with us, but other things we can because they're part of who we are. And when we go to heaven, we'll still be the same persons. Yeah? In heaven, I'll be Kees. Mike will be Mike. Yeah? Same for everybody else. You'll be you, and you'll be able to recognize each other and have fun together. Now go back to verse 20 again. Verse 20. Where am I? Oh, there. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing the 5 talents, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have 5 talents more. In verse 22, the guy who's got 2 talents says, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I've got 2 talents more. What had they done? But they had been given the kingdom of God, and they extended it. They extended the kingdom of God by taking what they had and working with it, by using their skills, by using their ability, by using everything that God had given them. They had extended the kingdom of God. And I think that is the thing that this parable is teaching us about talents. It's saying, use what you have. Use what you can do. Use who you are. And extend the kingdom of God. You are a carrier of the glory of the Lord. As we read in Habakkuk, the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of God. People will experience the glory of the Lord all over the earth. They can experience that glory through you. Because you carry the glory of God. So when you read this parable, it's supposed to be encouraging. It's supposed to be, there's a warning in there, as I said before, but the focus really is on the first 2 servants. The ones that went out and used what they had and extended the kingdom. I think it's telling us to live wisely and to fill the earth with the glory of God. In 1 Peter 4, that's one more scripture. 1 Peter 4 verse 10, it says, as each has received a gift, and it can be a spiritual gift or a physical gift or whatever, we talked about it. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another. As good stewards of God's varied grace. Whoever speaks, as one who speaks oracles of God. Whoever serves, as one who serves by the strength that God supplies, in order that in everything God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. To him belong glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Peter's saying here, we've all got gifts. These gifts are there to bless each other. And to bless people outside the kingdom as well. To extend the kingdom, to bring people in. To make a difference. Using your talents wisely, as the title was for today, means be fruitful. Yeah? Be productive with your gifts. Now I find Colossians 3 very helpful in that. It says, whatever you do, this is verse 23, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for man. Knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. Yeah? If you do whatever you do, whether it is at home, cooking, cleaning, changing nappies, shopping, or whatever else you do at home, do it as before the Lord. If you're at work, relating to your colleagues, delivering excellent work. Sometimes we see work as not necessarily a good opportunity to be a witness. But if you strive for excellence, if you work as if your work is for Jesus himself, yeah, you will get noticed. And it will make a difference. And people will see that you're different than other people are. At church the same. There's so many different things to do. There's always people needed for the children's work, or for the welcome, or for the coffee and the tea, or for setup, or for all the other things. Yeah? We can always help. We can always do as people who are willing to help. It's an opportunity to put your skills, your talents to work everywhere where you go. You carry the glory of God. Do whatever you do as if you do it for Jesus. That way you're fruitful. That way also you can multiply, because you reach people and people say, there's something different here. You've got something that I haven't got and I want it. Now, Andy's preached on this lots of different times. I won't go into that today, but it's fill the earth. So be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth with the glory of God. You carry the glory of God, and I can't say that often enough. You carry the glory of God. And the glory of God is the radiant presence of the Lord. Now we're going to look at the presence of God in a sermon series in a few weeks' time, so I won't go into that any more than that. But you carry the glory of God. Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Yeah? Extend the kingdom. Extend the kingdom of God. Sometimes we refer to it as bringing heaven to earth. We've got access to heaven, and we can bring it to earth, and we can show people what heaven is really like. And it's amazing. Said before, it's not an everlasting church service. It's a good place to be. A place to enjoy, and to love, and to work, and to live, and to, That's the thing what this parable is teaching us. So when we talk about using your talents wisely, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Thank you.
Awesome. We'll have the band come back up for one more song.